Hello there everyone, and welcome to, and I can't believe I'm saying this, the final episode of Richmond Park. That's right, here we are, episode 5, episode 1 chronologically, those were the days. And, I mean, buckle in. I don't know if you've seen the runtime of this video, but yeah, it is going to be a long one. I haven't recorded the real-time section yet, so I don't know how long the video is going to be, but I do know that I'm staring down 30 minutes of voiceover. So, yeah, buckle in. We're going to be here for a while. Anyway, why is that? Because unlike other episodes that have dealt in maybe 1 or 2 years of the park's history, this one technically covers about 60. But only about 5 of those properly. Because you'll see in a minute after I finish improving the supports of the T-Rex, because my god, they looked awful last time. And somehow I left that piece of track underground and I just never noticed. There we go, look at that. You can see them kind of towering over the park now. But here it is, the wooden coaster. This is the first coaster the park ever built. And bear with me here, because the timeline is going to get very confusing, because if you couldn't tell, I left slightly too much space for the last episode. Hence why this episode will cover so much history, because I had a lot of space to fill. But I think it's all come together nicely in the end. Either way, onto this wooden roller coaster. So, don't grow attached to this layout, it's too modern. So I tore it out and replaced it with more of a classic wooden roller coaster layout. But within the story, this was built about, 30, 40 years before any other rides were built. Because the way I frame this is, Richmond Park, well, what is Richmond Park now, existed as just a nice little, lakeside, nature park. That's a terrible way to describe it. It existed as the lake. The lake was the important thing of the park. You'd come on down, have a picnic by the lake, and then go home. There was no rides until the previous generation of the Richmond family decided they wanted to expand the offering. So, alongside a couple of other small rides which are no longer in the park, they installed this, a big wooden roller coaster to really put themselves on the map and to diversify the kind of fun you could have at the park at the time. And it was successful. Everyone loved it, and as such, they built nothing for the next 30 years. I'll just say they didn't want to build a theme park. They just put this in because, might as well, just to test the waters of it. And then the next generation of the Richmond family came in, and that's when the theme park was born. So in short, what I'm getting at is this roller coaster you see being built now existed about 30 years before any other rides. So all the other rides you see built in this episode were built about 30 years after this coaster. Here we go, there you go. Okay, I tore out the old one, and now I'm going to build the actual layout. Because, like I said, the previous layout was just a bit too modern for a ride built 30 years before the rest of the rides. Anyway, onto the layout itself. I wanted this coaster to kind of just go through the whole park. No matter where you are in the park, you can see this coaster. And I feel like I've achieved that quite well, as you'll see later. Because, like I say, no matter where you are in the park, you can see this coaster. You can hear it go by. It's very noticeable. Because it's meant to be, the iconic standout attraction of the park. Oh, not standout attraction of the park, but it's meant to be the iconic attraction of the park, Everyone knows that... I very nearly just said the name of the coaster. Everyone knows this coaster. It's a bit like the wooden coasters at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Of just I don't know, they are the park's history. That they exist to be old, in a way. I don't know what I'm getting at, really. It's just, I've built this... I like that this coaster's come out like it was built ages ago. And I feel like I've kind of... I think I probably could have done it better, but I've kind of captured the way that, and it feels like the other rides were built around it, not the other way around. Even though it was technically built that way within the park, because, well, obviously it's the last thing I've built. But, I don't know, I feel like it's well achieved. And, like I say, it has presence in the park. You can hear it no matter where you are. Even amongst, knowing what a certain part of the park is going to look like later, even amongst all the noise you can hear in that part of the park, this coaster still, stands above it all, rides through the middle of it all, and, yeah, what I'm trying to get at is that I like the way this coaster's come out. I think I've achieved that goal of having it be this sort of big present centerpiece of that's the word I'm looking for, centerpiece. The big present centerpiece of the park. That's what I was getting at for the past minute. Either way, I'm going to take this very little amount of time I have to ramble, because this is a very full episode. So much gets built so fast, so I'm going to ramble while I can. I'm going to give you a little behind-the-scenes exclusive look into the series. This voiceover is being recorded the day before episode 4 comes out, which means that the park has technically been done for about a week as of the time you're watching this. What am I doing with that week? Taking a week off. No, to be fair, I'm already starting work on the next series. As of recording this voiceover, I have started work on the next park. And it's weird, I don't even know where this sudden, like, boost in desire to play Planet Coaster has come from. Because, like, sure, I love the game as much as the next guy, but I've never had this much of a, I need to play Planet Coaster right now. But evidently it was enough to finish the park a week early, and then immediately start on the next one. But I've actually been doing some planning for the next park, and I'm very excited for it, because of course I'm not going to be restricted to 5 episodes, and I can keep building the park for more than 5 episodes. I'm not restricted by this must go in this episode. So, I mean, as for the structure of the episode, while I build this shot tower, because, well, it's not a particularly interesting build, as for there's very few things I have planned. Obviously, there's, as I've mentioned in pretty much every episode now, there's that one coaster I want to build, which I'll get into in that series, and then probably also maybe a steampunk area. I'm flip-flopping around on it a bit. I've been, like, drawing out some plans for the park, but I'm not going to be constrained to those too much. But as for the structure of the videos, it's going to be very similar to this, I think. It's just going to be voiceover over the time-lapse, followed by a real-time section running through what was built. And I know one thing I'm going to do. I'm going to keep the naming of each episode, because you may have noticed that each episode of, well, I say you may have noticed, it's very obvious, that each episode of Richmond Park has its own name, like, built to be bad, or there's a thrill in the air. And I find it really fun to come up with those. So yeah, that will be staying in the next park. I'll have to come up with a very funny name for each episode. But then again, it might be harder to do that because the episodes are no longer about one specific thing. They're going to be like, well, the episodes are no longer about like a period of time, or the names don't have to like tie into the story anymore. Yeah, I don't know. I'll see where I go with that. Sorry, this is really boring news. I'm sure none of you really care about that. But anyway, the queue for the shot tower is currently going in, and it's lovingly placed in the middle of I need to say the name again, of the roller coaster. I mean, come on, when you've got a space like that, it's asking for a shot tower. And especially when I want to get that Blackpool Pleasure Beach kind of feel with this park, of rides are built on top of rides, and they just kind of stuff the ride wherever they can. Yeah, I feel like it's very well achieved. And something else that I feel I've achieved quite well is that feeling I wanted to create all the way back in the first episode of, you can tell this park's been around for like 50 years and there's just themes clashing everywhere, but at the same time there is themed areas, sort of like Drayton Manor again, or Drayton Manor pre-Frontier Falls, but I feel like I've achieved that well, because of course there's the 2 main themed areas, those being Willow Creek and, what's the other one, City of Thrills, but everything in between, so like the whole middle section of the park has no set theme. So yeah, you will see that, like, well, Vault and Overdrive are next to each other, this roller coaster runs through the middle, there's a shot tower with a completely separate theme to everything in there. It's a lot like Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Again, once again, this park's turned out to be more like Blackpool Pleasure Beach than Drayton Manor in the end. But I feel it's a lot like Blackpool Pleasure Beach. There's no, like, cohesion throughout most of the lands. All, like, the themes are just sort of thrown in and mishmashed wherever, I don't know, where I feel they should go. Either way, onto the park, back to the park. I'm building some just kind of like copy-paste vending machine stalls, because I feel like they're... I don't really know why I built those, to be honest. I got bored of building rides for 5 minutes, so I went and built something else. But I feel like they add a little bit of character to the park, I don't know. Either way, onto, and this is the first for this series, 2 coasters in 1 episode. That's right. I don't know when, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really know when in the timeline all of these rides built in this episode were built. They were just sort of, oh goodness, I've left too much space. How do I fill that space? And yeah, this coaster was the way I filled some more space. It's just a very, very basic junior coaster. It has probably the most boring layout you will ever see. However, I think the theme, once we get around to that, is alright. Well, it's bad, but it's intentionally bad. Like, it's not meant to be a good theme. But I feel like the way it's been executed is good. However, speaking of that theme, I'm sure we're going to see it go in very, very soon. What? Why do I just... Okay, never mind. I've stopped just looking at the coaster now. I'm actually going to start... I'm still just looking at the coaster. Oh my god, can I please get back to building? There we go. So I don't know what happened there. I took a good 30-minute break to just look at the coaster. But there's this lovely red track and white support colour scheme, which you'll see in a minute. Do not fit with the theme at all. But that's by design. Because the theme for this ride is essentially that it's had two themes. It used to have a theme that tied in nicely to the red and white colour scheme. However, once again, Wonderland Amusements rocks up, and those self-centered people, they went and themed it to themselves. That's right, this coaster is themed to Wonderland Amusements, because that just seems like something they would do. You know, in the midst of, like, building the City of Thrills, they just saw this random junior coaster and said, you know what, it needs some work anyway, let's theme it to us. I don't know, it seems like the kind of thing that, like, I'm sure, once again, Six Flags is having shots fired at it. I'm sure Six Flags have had a Six Flags themed coaster at some point, surely. There is no way that they've existed for this long, and they, with the way they act, they haven't built Six Flags the ride. Actually, I'm going to go Google this, actually, because I'm pretty sure there was a ride themed to their mascot, Mr. Six, at some point. Hang on. Okay, I'm back, and yes, there was a ride called Pandemonium that opened as Mr. Six's Pandemonium. That's right. Okay, right, it isn't themed to Six Flags, but it's themed to, like, a marketing character for Six Flags, Mr. Six. So, you know what, I think I get half a point for that. The Wonderland Amusements would theme it to themselves, though. They wouldn't just, like, make a mascot to, like, try and... they wouldn't theme it to a mascot, they theme it to their company. They're so good at building theme parks, they name the ride after themselves. Either way, onwards. I've built a very, very basic station. Because, well, I wanted the theme for this to be minimal effort was put into this re-theme. So they've taken just the basic metal station it had, repainted the roof, and then just stuck stars everywhere. And, you know, I think I've achieved that quite well. Either way, no time to dwell on that, because we're immediately jumping back over to the shot tower again. Because I finally decided on a theme for this, and you might have noticed that I've just closed the park, because you can only listen to the guests going, wow, on every single ride for so long, before it gets really annoying. And yeah, when I'm surrounded by rides like I was here, I could not focus. I've kicked everyone out the park for now. But either way, I've gone for the name Sky Tower. And it feels painfully basic. Although, I'll have to show you this in the real-time section. But I did put a, like, kind of launch effect on this tower, and honestly, I love it. It's unreasonably dramatic for what this ride is. Like, the ride doesn't look particularly forceful. It just looks like a very, very dramatic dispatch sequence for a very underwhelming ride. Anyway, I'm currently picking a soundtrack which will represent the, what's it called? The unthemed area of the park. The centre of the park that's not themed. That has all, like, the clashing themes in it. And ultimately, I went for just, well, another one of, like, the basic theme park soundtracks. Because I find that's what the first 4 soundtracks in there are. They're just your generic, dramatic theme park. They're pretty much the entrance music, more or less. But I find that one of them worked quite well for this. Anyway, I'm currently constructing the dispatch sequence I was on about. And during the sequence, so the ride, like, lifts up, smoke pours out from underneath, similar to, what's it called? A launch pad at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. And then, like, a musical thing, like, it builds up, and then you launch off. I don't know. Like I say, it's painfully dramatic for how underwhelming the ride experience will probably be, because it's just sort of one shot, then you go up slowly, then you come back down with absolutely no force to it. But, I don't know, I feel like it's cool. It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch on and off the ride. And boo! Look at that! We're back on this coaster. What's it called? Wonderland Whirl Jump Scare. We're back on this coaster again, because I forgot to do the area fencing. And, yeah, oh well, there's not really much to say about that. This is area fencing, and I think I'm going to area fence for the next 20 minutes, so it's rambling time! Yes! And I'm going to talk once again about the next park. And just some kind of ideas I've had for what I want to build in that park, once again. Because I'm still a bit 50-50 on what, like, the actual, like, overarching, like, theme of the park is going to be. Because I mean, currently I'm thinking about doing something very similar to, well, it's the exact same as what Digital Dan is doing in Discovery Studios, where it's just like 5 areas themed to things I'm interested in, or like things I like. Just 5 areas themed to things I enjoy. The problem is, I don't think I have 5 strong interests. I have 2 at most. One of which being theme parks, and the other one I'm not going to give away. Obviously, people who know me, and, well, anyone who's, like, looked far enough... Well, anyone who's looked in the right places will know what my other large interest is. But I'm not going to reveal it here, because it will give away what the theme of that big fancy coaster is going to be. So, alright. So, yeah, spoilers to anyone who knows me. You know what that coaster is going to be themed to. And as such, hopefully you can understand why I'm very, very excited to build that coaster. Because I've had an idea for it, and I cannot wait. But, I don't know, if I can think of 5 things that I'd say appropriately interests me, then I will build 5 areas themed to that. But if not, I might just have, like, 2 areas. Because in my entire time playing both Planet Coaster 1 and 2, I've never really done an IP-based area. So anything based on, like, an external, like, film or game or something like that. Or, in my case, neither of those two. I wonder what it could be. Ooh. But... yeah, I think it would just be a fun thing to do to try and replicate what's seen in that media. So I'm trying to do everything in my power to not say anything about what it is. I'm just trying to like do my best to recreate what is seen throughout that in ride form. But I think the plan I have at the moment is I think it's going to do it well. It will do the property justice. Anyhow, back to the park a minute, because things are actually going down now. Well, going up. The building is going up. The building is not going down. That would be bad. That would be demolishing the building. But I thought, as I mentioned in the last video, I thought now is as good a time as any to build the main gift shop. And I do something in here, which I think I start now, but then I finish slightly later on, which I think it kind of comes together as, like, the final goodbye to the series. Because in this gift shop, as you'll see soon, decorating the walls, lining all the walls of the gift shop, are every ride sign in the park. Just as a nice, like, tribute to this park. Because, I mean, as much as this was supposed to, like I've said many times, this is literally just supposed to be a testing series. This series existed solely to test the Planet Coaster series. I've said series too much now, it's not a word anymore. But it was just made to, like, test the waters of, like, how fun is it to make? Do I enjoy making it? What kind of, like, reception does it get? Not that I really care about the numbers now. Like, I've said many times, I think. I don't remember, right? But like, one of the main mindsets I run with for YouTube is that I don't care about the numbers. If a video gets 400 views, that is great. If a video gets 3 views, that's fine. I'm not... It's kind of a weird... not paradox, but like thing. I don't know what the word is, but it's a weird thing of like I say, well, I can say I'm not doing this in the pursuit of people watching it as much as I want, but at the same time, why am I putting it on YouTube then? If I don't know. It's not that I don't want people to watch it. It's that I don't care if nobody watches it. That's what I'm trying to get at. But either way, sorry, I've run on about that for too long now, because as you can see here, look, all of the ride signs. Or at least all the ones that were currently in the park, are going in the shop. And I will do the other 2, I think? Yeah, 2 ride signs that it was missing in a minute. But I wanted those to be the final 2 things I put into this park. As sort of a nice send-off, you know? And those are the first and the last coasters. Those being Adrenaline and the wooden coaster, which I... And I'm going to say this now. I know it's pronounced Adrenaline. But I can already... Because, like I say, the 4th episode hasn't come out yet at the time of recording this. I can already hear one comment saying, actually, it's pronounced Adrenaline. I know it's pronounced Adrenaline. The coaster is called Adrenaline because it's a single coaster. So it's a single rail coaster. So it's like a line. The track is a line. I know how you pronounce Adrenaline, I promise. But no. Yeah, I've gone very off topic. What is this? What am I building? Oh yeah, there's just a random food stand here. I don't know why I built this, to be honest. I got very bored of whatever I was doing and decided to build something else. But yeah. I know it's Adrenaline, okay? I promise I know how to pronounce Adrenaline. Maybe Maybe I am wrong. What if it is adrenaline? What if this whole time I've been wrong and it actually is just adrenaline and I've made a big fuss and palaver about nothing? But that would be incredibly typical of me. Either way, so if you can tell, I'm just sort of talking at this point because I have nothing to say about this food stand. And on that note, actually, this food stand is so boring that, watch this. Alakazam! Wow, it's gone. I'm building something else now. Although, I'd be lying if I said this new thing was any more exciting than the food stand. Get ready for this. Prepare yourselves, because this is what I'm building. Seating area! With seats! Where you sit! Yeah, I know, it's not very thrilling. But, unfortunately, my magic powers must recharge. I cannot Alakazam! Once again, it does not work, so, hate to break it to you, we're going to have to sit through the seating area. God, this is boring. Can we go back to the food stand, please? Can we go back? That was way more exciting than... Okay, never mind. I'm building a tunnel. Oh my god. Either way, that can only be exciting for so long. So you know what? I'll be nice. Alakazam! Look at that. Exciting stuff, finally. That's right, you're seeing the completed seating area now, as I get out of there and go and do something else. Here we go. I believe it's time. We'll put some trees in to get to work on the roller coaster itself. I don't remember that thing. That was like 20 minutes ago now. That's right, we're coming back to it. Why am I putting down oh my god, I'm putting down so many bushes. Can we please get to the roller coaster? Any second now. There we go. It's roller coaster time. So, I think I might as well start getting into the theme of this ride. It doesn't have one. Yeah, and I know it's the boring answer, I'm sorry, but look, that is the nature of old wooden coasters most of the time. They don't have like a big detailed theme, and neither does this one. And I've frozen again. There we go. Neither does this one. This one doesn't need particularly a big fancy theme. It's just, I don't know, it's built to exist on its own. And either way, it lives within the big unthemed area of the park, so it makes sense really. Anyway, you know, I might as well tell you the name now because it's not like an exciting reveal later. The name of this coaster is, get ready for this, Big Dipper. That's right, the most basic roller coaster name probably of all time, apart from roller coaster. Yes, I've called it Big Dipper. So the what's it? Blackpool Pleasure Beach comparisons are only perpetuated now. But you know, I felt it was a fitting name. You know, it's an old wooden roller coaster. 9 times out of 10, they're either called Scenic Railway or Big Dipper. So I think I can get a pass on the boring name this time. But either way, the queue is going in, as you can see. There's a nice bridge over the lift hill, and it's very long and windy, which I doubt it's ever actually going to be filled up that much. But I guess we'll see in the real-time section, because I'll let the park run for a little bit, just so that people disperse into the queues, and then we'll see what happens. Either way, a lot of trees are going to be built over the next, like, 5 minutes, so I might as well get into how they play it, because I lied, this ride does kind of have a story. Not in the theme itself, but just how the rides come to be. Because the way I picture it, when the ride was built, there wasn't a forest here. So they built the coaster, and then the forest kind of just naturally grew and spread around it. And so when the next generation of the Richmond family came in, they kept the white colour scheme of half the coaster, like the bit that's not in the forest, but then they painted the other half brown to kind of like show that you are, you know, you're in the forest. Look, we even get a nice sped up POV of it. But yeah, you can probably see like the supports shift from brown to white back to brown again. Because I don't know, I thought that'd be quite a cool feature to have, like, you know, it shows you being in the woods, and then you transition back into like the old style of the park before diving back into the woods again at the end of the coaster. You know, I think for a ride that doesn't have a theme, I think that's quite a good bit of theming right there. Anyway, the maintenance bay is currently going in, which you'll see I forget to put a metal door on, but I'm pretty sure I have. And don't worry, the metal door will be there for, I might as well reveal this now, when the park releases onto the workshop. That's right, in a surprise to probably nobody. Once this episode comes out, because theoretically, yes, I could release it today being the 2nd of February. But no, I'm going to wait until the 5th episode comes out, and then it will be released and available on the workshop. I'll give you the code. Actually, how am I going to do that? Actually, I haven't thought about this. If the park's like ready to be uploaded now, and I'm making the video now, how am I going to get the code without releasing the park? You know, actually, I'll take it all back. Guys, I hate to break it to you, but you haven't been looking. The park's been out since the 2nd of February. The park has been released this whole time. And unless, of course, you actually found the park in that time, then congratulations. But, just so I can have the code ready for this video, the park has been out for about a week. But, Either way, yes, this park will be released onto the Planet Coaster 2 workshop for you to come and explore. You can do whatever you want in the park. You can come and finish Adrenaline if you want. If you have an idea of what that coaster could have looked like, go ahead, knock yourself out, go and build that coaster. If you want to flatten the whole park and, I don't know, do something else, go ahead. If you want to, I don't know, try and recreate what the park could have looked like before, what they call Wonderland Amusements came in, go ahead. I am in no position to stop you. The park will be in your hands now. Do whatever you want to Richmond Park. I don't mind. Either way, the sign for Big Dipper is now being made, which tells me that we are nearly at the end of the final time lapse for Richmond Park. Yeah, I can't believe it. Like I say, it does not feel like the series is ending. But here we are. I'm probably never gonna have to open that save file ever again. But either way, brighter futures. You know, we got big new things on the way, and I believe it's just the Adrenaline sign left to build. Yeah, there you go. The Big Dipper sign is being placed into the shop now. And yeah, here we go. I'm going to fly over to the Adrenaline construction site to build the sign. And yes, it's going to be as painfully boring as you'd imagine. But I might as well start saying this now because the time-lapse is going to end very, very soon. Thank you for watching the time-lapse. Here's the real-time section where I'll give you the actual proper big thank you for watching speech later. But yeah, well, if you made it this far into the video, thank you for sitting through 26 minutes of voiceover, because I know it's painful. I appreciate that that I'm not the best at voiceover, and I'm afraid that's not going to get any better into the next series. So I can only apologise for the absolute mess that has been the voiceover over the course of this series. But you know, there's no way to get better than experience. That didn't make sense. The experience is the best way to get better at things. You know. The more and more I do these voiceovers, the more and more I'll stop randomly rambling about things, and you know, the better it'll get, the better the viewing experience should be. But either way, that is all from time lapse and voiceover me. Well, I'll say this as I designed the train on the way out. Thank you, and I'll see you one more time in the real time section. And you join me here one last time outside Richmond Park for the final real-time section. And strap in, because this is going to be a long one. So, as we walk into the park, here we are. Look at this. This is a very busy entrance plaza all of a sudden. Of course, we got Big Dipper off to the left there. The supports for Adrenaline just kind of towering over the park. Makes you think, because what, it would have been all the way like up there. How much that would tower over the park if it were actually built. We have Sky Tower over here. And, I mean, Volt's been here the whole time, but you know, the reason this is going to be such a long real-time section is because I'm going to do a full chronological tour of the park. I'm going to POV all, I think, 4 of the coasters? Yeah, all 4 of the coasters in chronological order, and we'll go around the whole park. But we'll start off here in the gift shop. Why can't I move? I'm stuck. Hello? What's that? There's an invisible barrier here. Sorry, I got stuck there. Let's head in. And here we are in the gift shop. Of course, we have all of the ride signs here. We've got Volt, Turbine, Wonderland Whirl, Ring of Fire, Big Dipper, Rocky Roundabout, Wildwood Wheel, Twirling Treetops, Dragonfly, Wildwood Falls, Sky Tower, Grand Carousel, and Overdrive. That's a mouthful and a half right there. But either way, you know, all the signs are there and accounted for, I think. Anyhow, we'll begin our chronological tour down at Big Dipper. And here we are at Big Dipper. Of course, the first ride to ever be built at the park. And you know what? I think let's go for a POV. But first, let's sprint our way through the queue. Excuse me, everyone. I've got places to be, and blimey, that is a long queue. I didn't actually expect the queue to be this full. But either way, here we are. Gonna push past everyone because we're allowed. And here we go. As we make our way through the queue for Big Dipper, there is the very, very tall lift hill. And very slow lift hill, importantly, as you're going to see shortly. As we make our way down here, you get a nice view of the maintenance bay, so lovely and scenic. And excuse me, everyone, I've got places to be. Move. I've got to get in the station right now. Because let's go for a front row POV. Oh, look at that, that's good timing. I didn't even have to cut it then. Wow. Here we go. Coming down through this section, underneath the queue path. So you can imagine back when this opened, this was all painted white and there's no forest around. I'll speed it up because this is, look how slow this lift hill is. I'll speed it up for us all. But, you know, you can imagine when it first opened, there was no forest, and oh, whoopsie. Okay, right, there's a slight problem with the block sections, it seems. My bad. I didn't time it correctly. Yeah, you can imagine there was just, like, no real forest. There was a small forest here, but nothing to this degree. This was all painted white. But now, here we go. Look at a lovely view over the whole park as we drop down. Down that big first drop. Over this weird airtime hill, which is very flat at the top, but, you know, I feel like that's something they would have done. And there we go, look at that, the very smooth transition to white. As we go down, dive underneath the path, past Wildwood Whirl. Not Wildwood Well, what's it called? A Wonderland Well. Round the drop tower. As we head down. Ready for another bit. Wow. Back under that same bridge. It's a very out and back layout, you know, as is standard for old wooden roller coasters. Go transition back to brown. As we dive back into the woods. Nice little pop of airtime there. Maybe even another one here. As we come round, you can see the train stops on top of the lift hill, so you can see exactly how far off my timing was. And here we go, as we come round into the brake run. Over this lovely transfer track. That's right, another one! Actually, do old wooden coasters... I don't actually think old wooden coasters like that have transfer tracks now I think about it. But we'll say that, like, in the big repaint, they added a transfer track to it. Either way, on to the next stop in our chronological tour. Where we arrive here at, what's it called? Wonderland World. I keep trying to call it Wildwood World. Here we are, of course. You know, as you can see it in there. Oh, there goes Big Dipper. Look at that. Good timing. But, I mean, don't have high expectations for this one, because it's just a very basic family. Can I get on through the exit? I can! We don't even have to walk through the queue, which is good, because there's nothing in the queue. Anyway, let's go on a POV. And here we go on Wonderland Whirl. Coming up that nice curved lift hill. Get a nice view over to where Adrenaline would be. We make our way over the top. And dive down. Not very far, because once again, this is a junior coaster. Around a nice small helix. You can hear some very loud music over there. I'll get to what that is in a minute. Here you go. Come around over the path, over Big Dipper. You can either get some nice interaction if it goes over at the right time. Never mind, no it didn't. Dive round and get ready for this because there's a second lap. That's right, we'll go around twice to double our chance of seeing Big Dipper. There it is! There it is! There it goes! Oh, hello. Hello, who are you? You are not Big Dipper. I was not talking to you. Sorry, right... Oh. She's gotten very bored of me. Story of my life right there. God, I'm sorry. Anyway, we should see Big Dipper come past any second now. Did I miss it? Where was it? I think I might have missed it. I don't know how I did that. So I got to start talking to the... Oh, she's happy now. She's happy because I stopped talking to her. God, all right, I can't believe this. I'm offended. I'm leaving the ride. Anyway, on to the next stop in our tour. And we've reached Sky Tower. Of course, the shot and drop tower here at the park. And excuse me, everyone. I've got to get through the queue again. Beep, 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 beep. Because I want to show this dispatch effect. And here it is, the dispatch effect. Yeah, that's it. I might have slightly overhyped it. But, you know, there's all the smoke at the bottom and the dramatic music. Anyway, let's go for a ride on this. Because even though it's not a coaster, I might as well get an overhead view of the park. And look at that view, actually. I don't think if I've actually just looked up at the tower, but look at that view of Big Dipper racing around the edge and the tower in the middle. I don't know. I think that looks really cool. Oh, and look at that. There it goes around the tower. One day off, we'll get like the interaction between them two. We can see the rides from each other. And here we go. We're going to see that dispatch effect from first person now. Oh, look at that. And there you go. Look at that. You get a lovely overhead view of the whole park. And then we wait down here for a second for some reason. We very slowly get lifted up to actually get a good overhead view of the park. Here we go. Oh, look at all of this. There you go. Look at that. You can see Vault off in the distance. It feels like years ago that was built. But there it is. Going backwards. Look down there. We have Overdrive, which I thought got stuck then. There's... it's not Wildwood Whirl. There's Wonderland Whirl. Big Dipper, of course, below and around us. Oh, we're dropping. Never mind. No, I don't get to look to the left. No! Actually, I think I actually put another shot in, so I think we should be fine. There we go. And if you look to the left, you might just be able to see Dragonfly. And what could have been. You can see the very top of Adrenaline's drop then. Oh, well, there goes Big Dipper. couple seconds earlier would have been nice, but oh well. Either way, that is it for Sky Tower. Let's head to the next stop in the tour. And chronologically, the next step is here, the back area of Willow Creek. Not the front area, the back area of Willow Creek. Where we of course have Wildwood Falls, and the ride experience really hasn't changed much. Apart from one, you might be able to get a new view from the drop, which I'll show you now. Here we go, over the top, there should be a nice new view of Adrenaline. Oh look, you can actually see the shot tower from up here. Wait, hold on, let's pause. No, pause. No, I can't pause. No, we've fallen, no! Oh, but you could get a nice view of Adrenaline and the shot tower from up there. Very fun. Wow, wasn't that a nice view from the top? But either way, we have the other two rides. My keyboard is playing up, there we go, I can move again. We have Rocky Roundabout, which, if you couldn't tell, this is a theme that was very much so... I can't go up there. No, I'm stuck underneath the ride. This is a theme that was very much so made up on the spot. I just put a big rock in the middle. I couldn't think of a good name for it. And we of course have the restaurant in there, which is still as busy as ever. As we head around, we've got the Wildwood Wheel, which is, as the name would imply, a wheel. Anyway, that is all for this area. Let's go to the next stop chronologically, which brings us here to Vault. That's right, it takes us all the way back to the first episode. Goodness, it feels like it's been so long since this ride. And how far the park has come, and how this theme perfectly clashes with everything, just how I wanted. Anyway, as we head through the queue one more time, we get to see it nicely rolling overhead as we get the final POV for Vault. And off we go! Here we go, we reverse backwards up that lift hill. If you can hear the music in the background, that's because I've given Overdrive onboard audio, which we'll have to go and listen to at some point. But here we go! And wow, how the view is going to change. Look at that, whole new view around this coaster. Twist round around the big electrical towers. And up that double up spike. Ooh. And we go backwards! Ah! Look at all those trees behind it now. There was none of those before. I think it highlights how far I've come, even just within the 5 weeks of this series. Like, this looks like, dare I even say, a little bit basic compared to like some of the later builds. I don't know, am I overhyping myself? Maybe, but I can like pick out flaws in this now, like quite a few. Like a few of the transitions are a bit rough, but either way, chronologically, actually, the next ride is right here, as Overdrive's put in around the same time as Vault. And here we are. We're not going to go for a POV because I think, well, we don't have time for that, and we'd all throw up probably. But you can hear the on-ride audio. Listen to this. Oh yeah! And I feel like that is appropriate music. Oh, there's vocals? Oh, I had no idea. I haven't listened far enough into the song to know there's vocals. I just heard that first bit and thought, yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, I feel like this is very fitting music for this ride. And does that not feel like the kind of thing that would be in this park? A ride, very loudly blaring music. I should probably remove that first initial spin, because then it gets straight into it. But either way, on to the next stop, which brings us to this very crowded bridge on the way into Willow Creek. Why is it always so busy here? I have no idea. But that takes us into here, of course, episode 4. Not episode 4, this was episode 2. Episode 4, chronologically, takes us to Dragonfly and, what did I call you again? Twirling Treetops, which we're not going to ride on that, but we are going to go take a POV on Dragonfly. One more time to see how the views have changed. Excuse me everyone, I've got places to be. And we're off. So we come around to the left, up that lift hill. Actually, I'm very intrigued as to what the view will be like up here. So we just look over there. Look, you can get a nice view of Sky Tower now. You can just see Adrenaline off to the left, if you look hard enough. And here we go. On Dragonfly. Okay, you can see the whole area below now. I don't think you've actually seen that before. The whole area below it now. So we head down. Over that airtime hill. Pass by Turbine. Go through that corkscrew. You get a nice view of Adrenaline from back here. Dive down. Up into that still very weirdly profiled 0G roll. But you know what? I'm going to roll with it now. Pun fully unintended there. I come round through here. Round the helix, get to see the queue of what's it called, Wildwood Falls briefly, and through the lovely maintenance area. Woo! We love the maintenance area. And that's Dragonfly one more time as we head round to our final stop in our chronological tour, which takes us to the City of Thrills. Here it is, Wonderland Amusements Scourge on the park. Mark, The one thing they left behind. Here it is. We have Turbine here. I won't be POVing either of the rides in here because once again we don't have time. But we have Turbine here and Ring of Fire. Both incredibly unthemed and cheap rides. And of course this lovely... I will glaze this wall again. This lovely wall right here. Oh, hello. And here, of course, we have the Refresh and Refuel building over here. And we're going to take to the skies once again to go and look at the Adrenaline site. Here it is, one more time. You know, what could have been? The drop now actually uncovered. And that footer is very far off the... Whoopsie. I'll have to fix that before I release the park. But yeah, one last time looking at this coaster. And, unbelievably, that is it. That is it for Richmond Park. I'll fly over the park a bit more while I just say all this. To anyone who has watched the whole series up to this point, I can only thank you, sir. I can only thank you. It is, honestly, I commend you for sitting through 5 episodes of this. And either anyone who's like just starting on this episode, you've gone the wrong way. The clock in the corner is chronologically. You're on the last episode. Quick, leave now before you... Oh, but no, but you've already seen the end of the park. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Anyway, like I was saying, to anyone who's like, actually, well, to anyone who's watched any episode of this, thank you so much. It means a bunch. And, you know, it was nice to finally put, like, the things I build out there a bit. You know, because like I say, no one's ever actually seen my Planet Coaster Parks before. So it's been a really fun and interesting process to build this park. It's caused me to, like, think about and play this game in a completely different way to how I usually do. And, you know, I think that's resulted in what might be my favourite park I've ever built. I cannot begin to explain how much I love this park. Just everything about, like the simulated history, I feel like it's been achieved perfectly. Like, hang on, if I just fly over to this area specifically, like, look at this. Look, like, the mishmash of themes everywhere. That feels like a park that's been built over, like, 50 years. And they never had any consideration for what was going next to what. And I think just the overall aesthetics of this park, I just love the whole place. It all feels very natural. And hopefully, the next park will dethrone this one as my favourite park, because that one is setting up to be very exciting. But either way, as we look over the park one last time, I'll say, once again, one last time, thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode. Not that there will be one. But I guess, see you, I'll next see you probably... I mean, well, is it bad to go straight from Planet Coaster to Planet Coaster again? But unless I have any other plans for videos, I'll see you in the first episode of the next park. Goodbye, all.